Let's first welcome to the ring from Cameroon. He is the lineal MMA heavyweight world champion, Francis the Predator Ngannou.
Well, as you can see on the screen there, the Street Fighter effects enter the Predator. Francis Ngannou, the lineal MMA heavyweight champion, former UFC heavyweight champion, who on his boxing debut back in October took on the lineal boxing heavyweight champion in Tyson Fury. And he gave the world, really, a night that they'll never forget. He sent ripples around the world by knocking down Fury in the third round. He still insists that he won that fight. He believes he will be beating Anthony Joshua on Friday night, and he is some specimen, Andy Clark.
He absolutely is, and when you see him stride into the ring there, for me anyway, he makes that walk to the ring kind of shrouded in this air of mystery still, because off the back of that performance, what we do know is that he's an awful lot better than we thought he would be, but it's still quite difficult to work out exactly how good he is and exactly what he's capable of against Joshua, and that makes it fascinating for us and potentially quite difficult for his opponent, because you never want to underestimate anybody, and I don't think there'll be any chance of that happening after what he did at the end of last October. But also, as Ben Davison said to us yesterday, Joshua's trainer, you also don't want to be overestimating anybody, because that way you can just allow them a route into the fight. You can allow them to grow into the fight. So he's got a lot going for him from a psychological point of view. There's Ben ringside with Lee Wiley, one of the coaching staff who does a lot of great work with their video analysis. And it was interesting talking to Ben yesterday, Johnny, about how they really study tape in a way that other people don't. And it makes a lot of sense, because when you watch somebody fight, whether it's your fighter or the opposition fighter, there are certain things that they will do that are hardwired into them, natural instincts that are very unlikely to change, patterns that you can pick up on.
Habit. You pick up a fight habit, how they talk, how they walk, how they interact with people, how they are, and that's how you study a fighter. Keep watching them, and the fighter yourself. There's habits you might have, but you actually don't realise you've got. This is what Ben was talking about, that Anthony Joshua does. So now we understand his job with Anthony Joshua. His job with Anthony Joshua is that I'm not going to show you anything new. I'm just going to show you what you are doing and what you aren't doing, and then you can figure that out for yourself. This is my assessment of it. So therefore, if Anthony can take that confidence and that belief into this fight, then it should be day and night. Now, looking at Ngannou, I know for a fact when he boxed Fury, yes, and this is not a diss, it's not a disrespect, because he was king of MMA. Brandon always said, if you fight a fight that doesn't know how to fight, I mean, we're talking digital boxing, then the worst was the fight, because you don't know what kind of shot they're going to throw. Ngannou threw some kind of hatchet shot there.
It's a Superman punch.
Right, but you can get away with that in your sport, not in our sport. You shouldn't be able to anyway. But what I'm saying is, when a man's doing something so unorthodox that you can't prepare for, how do you prepare for him? How do you prepare for a man that actually doesn't have the boxing pedigree? Because you're going to get fighters that go in there that hold their hands up, use the jab, use the right hand, step around correctly. They'll have that unwritten step-back conversation still. We don't know. This man's going to do everything against the rule. So now, this is about, again, I'm quoting Brendan again, schools teach you to remember. He taught us to think. You've got to be able to think in the ring. So Ben Davison will have showed things to Anthony Joshua for him to remember. Anthony Joshua needs to be now in a position to think. If you can think, you can think on your feet. You can adapt. So AJ needs to be able to think when he's in there, think on the job. And if he can think on the job, therefore nothing untoward should happen, because he's thinking on the job. If he goes in like a robot and thinks, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, don't do that, don't do this, he's going to get turned over, because this guy's too unorthodox for our sport. Because how are you going to prepare for somebody like that unless he's going to get other MMA fighters in there with him?
What was interesting was in the build-up to Ngannou's fight with Tyson Fury, there was a video that went out of Ngannou on the pads, and it got widely panned, and people were saying, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. This guy's got no chance. Fury's going to knock him out immediately. Was he all taking us all a little bit for a fool, Johnny?
No, not at all. I think he is what he is. Even when he was here, he said, look, I'm a man. You know, I can punch, I can hurt. I'm not going to be impressed by your pedigree. I don't care. At least beating guys that have been successful in their fields on his way up in his sport, and the success he had with Tyson Fury. You know, you've got to give him credit, like we didn't, and you've got to give Tyson Fury discredit. Because he underestimated him. I don't think that would ever happen again. I think Tyson Fury now knows what's in front of him. He'd be in the condition he's in now to fight a guy. That's if they fought again. Don't think it will happen again. What I'm saying with this guy here, we can't sleep on him. We have the gift of hindsight now. We know what he's about. We know that he's cool. He's not going to be intimidated. He's very comfortable in his own skin. So AJ can't be intimidating this guy. He can't be looking at him like, yo, don't do that. I've seen it happen before with AJ Jr. AJ's now in there with a grown man that believes he is going to win. It's not trash talk. It's not American trash talk. He thinks, I want some of this. And he's actually very polite about it. And I think AJ senses that. This is why this fight is so much, that big if just keeps knocking me on the back of the head. But I'm interested.
Do you know what's interesting, Andy, is also that the build-up to this fight compared to the fight with Tyson Fury, you think about the press conferences, the name-calling. I can't remember how many times Tyson actually called this man, not the kid on the screen, but the man that you just saw, a sausage, relentlessly. Called him a sausage all the time, was up at the presser, was shouting, was pointing. Big John was there, Mike Tyson was there as well. But the build-up with Anthony Joshua, it's been very, very respectful.
It has been. What was interesting about what we saw from the pair of them back at the end of October was that Fury went full Fury all week, and we expected that. And Ngannou just didn't really react to it. You know, he was too cool for it. He'd seen it all before. But then at the weigh-in, when Tyson tried to loom over him and bear down on him a little bit, he wasn't having any of that. That was the first time we saw that real flame of fire in his eyes. You know, that edge of the real competitor, because he knew at that point, this isn't name calling now. You've taken my physical space here, and that's different. And then we really saw him. That was the first time we really saw him. And this week, yeah, they've not really been saying too much to each other because they don't really know each other. And I think there is definitely that respect there between them. But I think they will have been paying attention to each other, whether they admit it or not, because we have this situation, and we've discussed it, haven't we, which is unusual in that all of a sudden you're in with somebody who you never would have pegged as being a rival, who a year ago, I mean, you'd have laughed if we suggested this was going to happen.
Yeah, well, I laughed when it was suggested for Tyson Fury. I poo-pooed it. We all did. We'll go back to the Tyson Fury and Ngannou fight. Tyson Fury is the best at boxing foreplay. Boxing foreplay is
great term.
Is before you've even got in the ring. He's playing with you. He's getting in your head. He's making you hate him, disrespect him. He wants you to think he's a fool. He's disarming you without you realise you're being disarmed. And so, but unfortunately, it was lost on translation with him. It's lost on translation with Alexander Usyk. So now Tyson Fury has to depend on his boxing skill alone. With this guy here, he wasn't intimidated. And when it came to the physical huffing and puffing, Tyson Fury thought, uh-oh, and probably realised at that point, whoa, this guy's not moving. And you could see in the fight, he thought, all right, that's why I don't think that fight will ever happen again. I think with Anthony Joshua and Ngannou, these two respect each other. Because when you smell fear, when you smell hustle, you call it out. And I've seen Anthony Joshua call it out many, many times. You haven't tried to call this man out. This man hasn't tried to call out Anthony Joshua. It's been respectful. You can have fighters that are respectful to each other. It doesn't have to be throwing tables or getting in each other's face, and still have a good competitive fight. Dan Aziz, Joshua Buatsi, they fought their lives out. Went on the holiday after the fight.
Yeah.
You know, these two guys, I don't think there's anything personal there, but right now it's professional. They've got to be professional, and the best is going to go in there and give their best. He wants to be in a position where he shocks the boxing world. Now I'm rooting for the boxing world, because I don't want some MMA guy coming into our sport in his second fight and really turning it upside down, because what does that say? It either says that, you know what, we've been sleeping on this guy. This guy is the new era coming through to say, I can step into your sport, and it'll be a one-off. He will be one-off, because I can remember the Klitschko, they used to stand there when you box and then an MMA fighter, a mixed martial arts fighter. The guard's wide, the stance was square, they're very fit, you can pick them off, you can box them at a certain level. But so this guy has reached now top tier level, and so we've got to see what he's like at top tier level. And if he can get through this, and now he knows what he could have done against Tyson Fury, if it happens again, if he gets through this, we're looking at a problem right there. We're looking at a big problem, and it's going to take a really smooth, cool cookie to get rid of that guy.
He's also not here to mess around at all. I mean, this is that kind of cool, calm, collected customer. Earlier on in the week, we did some social media stuff with him, tried to get him to play a game on the phone and all that. He was like, I'm not playing no game.
No
Just
nonsense. He's a man. He's a man. He's not a kid boy. He's a man. He's not here for this nonsense. He's like, here to fight. I look at his relationship with Dewey, his coach. Out of this, they work together. They don't mess about. They're not. He's a man with responsibilities, and you can tell he's walking like a champion, trying to talk like a champion. All this to be a champion now.
Hey, it's because he is a champion. He is the lineal MMA heavyweight champion, and he is lapping it all up, just like he did back in October ahead of his fight with Tyson Fury. This time it's Anthony Joshua. You can see trainer Dewey Cooper there as well. And hopefully we'll grab a chat with Ngannou. Look, there's always a lot of scrutiny after workouts, particularly Ngannou workouts. So what can we learn from any of that? What did you learn from any of that, Andy?
I mean, he let his hands go there, didn't he? And some of the body work, a little step off to the left-hand side to change the angle, throw the right hand straight down the middle. It's stuff we didn't necessarily see back at the end of October. But what we know now is that we can't really take too much from anything you see from him outside of the ring, because when he gets in there for real, he knows exactly what he's doing. Whilst he was doing that, by the way, I was just having a little look at ringside, and I saw a few youngsters getting their hands wrapped up. So I think Anthony Joshua is probably going to go down a similar route to what we saw him do last time in December, and give them a little bit of a coaching clinic rather than do any serious work himself. But he's enjoying this. Ngannou. Fighters approach fight week in different ways. As we said last time out before Christmas, Joshua was tetchy during fight week. Deontay Wilder used to be, wasn't last time we saw him. It just depends on their personality type as to at what point exactly they make that transition into fight mode, into beast mode. And Ngannou, I think, just enjoys this, soaks it up right until the very last point. Maybe when he's getting his hands wrapped in the dressing room or even on the ring walk. He knows how to do it. He knows when he needs to do it. He knows when's too soon to do it. And that's just a sign of just how experienced he is, basically.
Born for the big stage, had to work to get to it, but he is most certainly here now. This man's life is an absolute movie, as we can look at the Street Fighter font in the background as well. His life's a movie, his life's a computer game. His life, I mean, he shouldn't be where he is, considering where he started. It's quite incredible, Johnny.
Some people are born and they know their path in life instantly. Some people fall on it or pushed on it. I think this guy fell on his path in life. He knew he has a fighting heart, fighting spirit, and that boxing mirrors life. Life mirrors boxing, and this guy, that's why all this means nothing. All this is not intimidated by it, because I'm quite sure he's been in more hairier situations. So for him, this is just part of his journey. 37 years old, and I said earlier. Becoming a champion, becoming a spearhead, it comes with responsibilities. Most fighters think to get to the top, that's the hard battle. It's not the hard battle. The hard battle is actually staying at the top. I remember before I became world champion, I thought it was so far away. And then eventually when I became world champion, that's where the real battle is. Because everything changes. I asked Dewey Cooper earlier on. I think for his last fight, he doesn't mind me saying it, Ngannou got paid 10 million. For this fight, he's getting paid 20 million. I'm kind of figuring that's the biggest kind of money he's seen, because I don't think they pay that kind of money in MMA. I said, has it changed him? Has it changed his hunger? You know, because you've got hunter's mentality or hunted mentality. The champions, you know, the good champions keep the hunter's mentality. The champions that fall by the wayside, they have the hunted mentality.
To the ring.
He's still got a hunter's mentality. His life has changed. He's not done an Andy Ruiz. His life has changed. The wealth has made no difference to his appetite, which I like.
Well, we're bringing in the Predator, Francis Ngannou, just as Anthony Joshua is going to make his way to the ring. Great to see you, Francis. Great to see you again. I'd like you to have a look at the screen here. I'd like you to watch Anthony Joshua and tell us what you're seeing as he approaches the screen.
As what?
As he approaches the ring, tell us what you're seeing when Anthony Joshua comes on the screen.
What I'm seeing?
Yeah, what are you seeing?
Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua getting in the ring. Tell us what you see, what you assess of his performance when he's in there.
This is an open workout. This is not a performance. This is a little bit of a show. Yeah.
But his team were ringside. They're all there. Ben Davison, Lee Wiley, all watching you. What did you make of that?
Oh, that's their problem. I don't know. I don't think there's nothing to see here, really. You know, it's just a little bit bad stuff. Have fun. You know, play, entertain, defend the people. It's what it is about. This is not really about like to see somebody's skills, right?
At what point during fight week then do you really start to get serious and switch into fight mode?
I don't know, it depends. Sometimes I wake up in the morning or the fight day and then I start to feel that fight week mode. You know, like maybe even last week there was a day that I felt it a little bit, I felt it, then it goes away after, so it's not something that you command. It's just automatic in your body, you know. Yeah, it's just automatic in your body.
Are you still sparring this week?
No.
Sparring finish.
No,
When did sparring finish?
Last Friday.
How many sparring partners did you have for this camp?
At first it was 3 of them, and then one of my sparring was in the training camp, so Guido, he had to go fight, so I remained with 2 sparring partners.
Orthodox fighters, what kind of sparring partners did you have? Did you feel comfortable with the pace, the change of opponents?
It's not comfortable when you get 5 rounds and then somebody fresh up come up and want to beat you up, take your head off. It's not comfortable, and that's what you're doing it. You're not doing it to be comfortable. You're doing it to be. You're trying to get as much comfortable as possible so you can get comfortable in the fighting.
Francis, let me ask you this. We spoke to Anthony Joshua yesterday. He says he's been watching your fights, he's been watching your MMA fights, and also he watches your interviews. He tries to figure out what's going on in your mind. Do you do that? Do you watch his interviews or anything like that?
You say you watch my interview and what?
Anthony Joshua watches your interviews to gain insight into your mind. Do you watch his?
No. I focus on me. All what I can control is me. You know, I can protect myself, stay secure, control what I can deliver, what I can do, and then make sure that nothing is taking that out of me. And then I'm very confident that if I go out there and do me, it's gonna be enough. The problem is that sometimes you just try to do somebody else, you just want to maybe do some stuff, maybe to please people or to, you know, do what is not you. That's when most of the time we get tricked and fall out of the box. But when I'm confident of me, my nature, if I do me, I'm good.
Anthony Joshua's in the ring right now, just warming up, doing this little workout. He's not even looked once. So this is Creative Spaces. I don't care what he does.
He's having fun. There's nothing to watch. Again, I was in the ring as well, and I know that there's nothing to watch when I'm in the ring. It's just to have fun. It has nothing to do with the fight.
That was fun.
Sometimes you walk in the gym and then you see those guys like maybe train, hit, meet, and then you feel like you will never be as good at them. But in the real fight, it's different. It's completely different.
Do you enjoy fight week, or do you get impatient waiting for the fight?
Well, I would say I'll go for the second. I'm more like waiting for the fight because fight week is a lot of media, a lot of question, a lot of same question again over and over. And sometimes I'm like, knock me out.
Well, listen, we asked Anthony Joshua this yesterday as well. You filmed a fantastic promo. In that promo, you had to hold your fist to his face. He held his to yours. What were you thinking in that moment? What was that like?
Well, that we were doing a promo. That's what I was thinking. We were doing a promo, and he was very chill, very relaxed. I get to ask him if he's okay because he feels he looked a little nervous or something. I don't know. I asked him if he was okay because I was okay. I have no problem. I was just talking around, laughing. You know, it was a promo. Nothing was going to happen there. So, and then I think we both are professional enough to know what we have to do in order to, you know, to get to what we want to go.
Tyson Fury will be ringside on Saturday night watching the fight.
Friday.
Yeah. I mean, he might stay there on Saturday as well, but definitely Friday, guys. He'll be ringside on Friday night. What do you make of that? He'll be watching you.
Huh?
Tyson Fury will be watching you on Friday night, your fight with Anthony Joshua. What do you think of that?
Nothing. I don't think nothing. I will just be watching him on May 18th too. So I'll return the elevator to him.
Fantastic stuff. Andy, anything you want to ask the big man before we let him go?
No, I think he's covered it. You know, when you're really experienced like he is, and like the man on our screen is, Fight Week is about fulfilling your obligations. It's about doing interviews with us. It's about answering questions. But none of this actually matters. It can be fun. Tyson Fury will call you a sausage during Fight Week, and we'll all, you know, kind of enjoy that because it keeps us all amused. But none of this really counts for anything, does it?
No. It's just fun, and sometimes people can load their guard by what is happening in the fight week, which is very tricky. You have to be able to separate both fight week and the fight. You know, everything that you're doing before and the fight. That's what make us professional.
Brilliant stuff. Let me ask you one final one. How has this compared to the Tyson Fury fight? As Andy said, he called you a sausage quite a lot. Anthony Joshua, much more kind of respectful, much more cool. How have you found the comparison?
Just two different personalities. I think at the end of the day, they are both great fighters. They are both good people, great opponents. At the end of the day, we go in and put on the show. It's what matters at the end because what we do here, I know Tyson Fury is a entertainer. You know, he likes to always bring a little bit of an extra, like do something funny. I know it's his personality. You can't change that. It's just who he is. You know, when you have to deal with that kind of person, you deal with him. When you have to deal with somebody that is calm as Anthony Joshua, you deal with him. No problem with that.
Finally, it's knockout chaos. Are you looking to cause some chaos in the boxing world on Friday?
I hope so.
Thank you very much. The Predator, Francis Ngannou.
Thank you.
What a man mountain, what a specimen, and what a man looking to cause some chaos on Friday night. And this time I said Friday, not Saturday, Andy.
I mean, it's always interesting talking to people like him. But during Fight Week, when you're as experienced as that, it is exactly what he's just been saying there. And you can see on his face when he's answering the questions that he almost wishes he could give us a more interesting answer. But at this point, it is just about getting through day by day, ticking the days off until you get in there on the night. And really all of this talking, all of this build-up, as enjoyable as it is for these elite level performers, they know that it doesn't really matter. If you're against somebody inexperienced, then you can maybe get into their head. I mean, it was quite interesting hearing him talk about the promo and just say, well, you know, I just asked him if he was okay, it was fine. Asked him if he was okay because he looked to me like he was a little bit nervous. That almost, for me, is him trying to score a little bit of a point or make a little bit of a point there to us, that in any setting, he is completely relaxed, whereas his opponent was slightly on edge. Now, he won't expect Anthony Joshua to hear that or care, but at the same time, you can see that although he says none of this counts for anything, you're looking, though. You're still looking to see if there's something that you might be able to glean, some edge you might be able to take from it, but ultimately they all know that you've just got to wait for the bell to ring.
Absolutely that, and the build-up has been fantastic for this. We've just got Anthony Joshua who's just completed his workout. You can see on the screen now, speaking to some of the media. And yeah, it was as expected, really. He did one of those workouts where he got the kids up, had a bit of fun, sort of showing the next generation you can be boxers too. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely it is. When you've got the kind of platform that he's got and the kind of profile that he's got, it just means an awful lot to young fighters, to just young people. They might not even really intend to go on and be boxers of any description, but to give them your time, to give them your energy, to give them your kindness, you know, they'll remember that for the rest of their lives. And he'll remember being a youngster when he first came into boxing, and he says that he looks up to the likes of Derek Chisora and other fighters, and his cousin even, Ben, and thought, you know, this is what I want to do. I want to be like you. I want to, you know, I'm sure he would have looked at Johnny and just thought, you know, look at this guy, look at what he's achieving. Looked into your story and just thought, you know, he came from a standing start. You know, he came from, you know, unpromising kind of beginnings as a fighter, but look what he went on to do. It's very inspiring stuff, boxing. It always has been, and I love seeing that. I love seeing somebody not waste that opportunity, because okay, he doesn't want to get in there and do any work himself, but he's thinking, okay, but what else can I do with this ring, with this space, with this time, but give it to somebody else. It's great.